Alrighty, so what we are going to do today is we are going to cover the basics of PDM, using PDM, best practices for PDM. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and we are going to share up SolidWorks. So this is the wonderful, wonderful SolidWorks window that you all are intrinsically familiar with. I've already started. I've gone through and created a part. But before we get into anything part related, the first thing we need to do is we need to go through and add in or change our templates. So SolidWorks has default templates that it likes to use. I remember in DML, you guys have to add in the DML templates. So we have all the templates for the class stored in PDM. So you go down to default templates, and you can select where to have all of your templates come from. You select the, well, this is bugged. File locations, there we go. You go to file locations first. And we are going to add in the location for this course for everything. So we come over, we go to our 4502 PDM Vault, templates. We have all of the templates in this folder for you guys. So we have part templates, drawing templates, everything right here. Set up. Now you can set the defaults. Apparently I can't set the defaults, but I have the templates set up here. Where do I go next? That's for document templates. I also have to change the default location for man, I wish Noel was here. He knows all of this. Custom properties. So in order to change custom properties, we actually have to delete our existing custom properties. Then we're going to add in this exact same templates folder for our custom properties. The custom properties document lets you add in information regarding vendor, material, material finish, manufacturing method, all of that stuff. So would I like to make changes? Yes, I would like to make changes. It's going to make changes to it. So now when I go back to my options, I should be able to change my default templates to my 4502 templates and select my drawing template from 4502, my assembly template from 4502, and my part template for 4502. And now all of those are set up and good to go. So first thing, at the file location, click OK, and then you have to go back into it to add the new location for it. So now my templates are all squared away, hopefully, and I can go ahead and get into actually using PDM. So you guys have already gone through the installation of it, I hope. If you haven't gone through the installation of it, please go through the installation of PDM. Otherwise, all this is pointless. But now we can talk part. So I have my part here. All right, I've just created it. It is an extrusion, and I'm going to save it. So I go and save. We'll go into our 4502. All right, and I'm going to save it directly into PDM. I'm just using PDM like it was any other file folder on my computer. I'm going to go ahead and save it there. My screen pops up with all of this information about it. So some quick things to note about this. It already assigns a part number for you. All right, and then within any of the changes you make here, all of this stuff down here will get set automatically based off of your custom properties and based off of the feature tree. So all of this stuff is automatically set for you. The biggest thing here is part number is automatically set. You guys do not need to keep track of part numbers anymore. It is all done as soon as you save a file to PDM. Part number is created. It might seem random. The number is not random. All right, it's course number, year, month, and then a sequential number generator for the part to keep everything situated. So we are in the 4,000th part created this year, roughly. So that is all good. As soon as I get this, I can click OK. Boom, now it's done. I have my test part. It is saved into PDM. If I come over here to my right-hand sidebar window, I have a PDM tab on that taskbar. So now I have within SolidWorks my PDM tools for it. So there are a couple of different things. Getting latest version and getting specific versions, we'll talk about that in a little bit. The two important buttons are right here up at the top. It is the checkout and the check-in button. Right now, I've just saved this part. I control it. If any of you were to go into PDM right now and try and look at the part, you would probably not be able to see it. Even though on my computer it's saved to the PDM Vault, it hasn't been uploaded to the Vault in its most recent states. So we go ahead, I click check-in. It's gonna come up here and pop out. And now I have to add comments for my check-in for this part. When you are adding comments to a part, don't add stupid comments. Keep them realistic to what you had done. For the first check-in, I always call it initial check-in. For subsequent ones, mention the change that you made. Added bolt pattern for 1/4-inch bolts. Great. Don't just type in the letter A or some stupid little quip that you think is funny. Keep these accurate. I'll show you why in a minute you want to keep these accurate, keep these relevant to what you're doing. So now I will check my part in. Now it is checked in, and any one of you should be able to open up PDM and see it in the PDM folder for the class. So now that I have my part checked in SolidWorks, there's a whole different way of being able to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of the part in SolidWorks and let us open up our PDM folder. So now here is the Windows Explorer side of PDM. I can click on my test part and a little preview window down here will show up, and I can actually view, visualize if I want to. I can open up the snipping tool and I can take a screenshot right from here of that part to put into a document, to record a change, whatever it may be. Also from this menu, I can check out or check in the part model. I do not need to be in PDM or in SolidWorks rather, in order to check in and check out parts. By installing PDM, I add this whole extra section to my to my Explorer window within PDM that lets me control all of these things and control all these files. So now that we've gone through this, are there any questions about the first little batch, creating a part, check in, check out? Nope, I don't see any questions. So, all right. So now that we've gone through that first step, we've got saving, generating a new part, check in, check out. That's all well and good, and that's the most important part. The most important thing you can do, and the most important thing with the information I have at this point is when you are done making edits to a part and working on a part, check it in. You can also, there's some magic to this. I can go right here, previous semester work. I can right click on the entire folder and click check in. And now I'm not able to check in any of these parts because Noel has them on his computer right now. We can actually see all the issues. Hey, look, they're all checked out by Noel right now because he's still uploading them all to PDM. So I can't check them in, but I could, if I had been working on 10 parts at once, I could check them all in batch. It is not good practice to do that. So only do that as a last resort. However, sometimes if you're just checking to make sure that you've got everything checked in for the day before you go to bed so you don't screw over your team, that is a quick way of making sure you've got everything on your computer checked in. So now, next steps with PDM, let's hop on over. So we're going into last semester's PDM Vault now, where we have the robots from previous semester. I'm going to go into robot 2. And we can see now more than just a simple part. We can load up their entire assembly in the preview window, if it will load. There we go. So we can see the entirety of Robot 2's design. All right, and a couple of quick things to notice here as I have it. Right now, in PDM, it tells me that the version I am looking at is version 72 out of version 103. So I am operating way back in the Stone Age with regards to this assembly model. So there are a couple of things I can do here. The easiest and most straightforward, I right click and I go get latest version. And now it's going to pop up with a window about getting the latest version. And it's going to show me every single assembly file that is out of date. And even some ones that are still checked out by people. And so this means that I have to go and bug Jenna and Sarah about checking in all of their parts. But so here's the full list of all of the parts for the model. I'm going to get the most recent version. And now we sit here and wait. Well, it gets all of the files from the server. So the server is this magical holding box for all of the stuff. And when I check something out, it's like going to a library and checking a book out. And then before somebody else can get that book, I have to check it back in. So now we are looking at the most updated version of their assembly model. I'm on version 103 of 103, as we can see here. And so I'm ready to work with the most current stuff. But let's just say, hypothetically, I'm curious as to what happened, where things were, let's just say a week ago, or a week before this edit. So I can come back to my model, right click and get history. And now that menu that you got that I had showed before that had all of the parts and their current statuses, I now have all of the edits and all of the changes that were made right here listed out. And I can go through and say, okay, cool. Well, so the 28th was when it was finally submitted. Let's go back about a week to right here. What happened here? Somebody just put a period down for their check-in here. I don't know what changed. So I can go to the one before it, and now I can get this version. And what this will do when I go to get it, it's going to roll back all of the parts here to that version of the file from when it was checked in for version 94 instead of version 103. And now it says right here that I'm on version 94 out of 103. And I can go back and then I can step it forward one step forward to see what has changed. So I can go back here and I can go, okay, cool. What's changed? Well, big things. I don't have any tubing in this one. I don't have my wire. I have some of my wires routed, but I don't have any of the cable protectors for the wires in here. And I can see what the general changes were made in those last final steps of the assembly. So that is the part history stuff. There's one other tool within part history that we can make use of. So if I come back to part history and I go to number 94, which is where I am now, there's this option rollback. So what I did first was I just got the file. So I just went back to that latest revision, but I did not roll it back. I just am viewing that most recent version. If I click this rollback button, what it will do is it will eliminate every version of the part after that, and I will be starting from this revision. So if you ever notice that a part, something went haywire, the part got screwed up, it no longer fits, nothing, but you know that version 5 of the part, everything was working fine. You don't know what happened between versions 5 and 7 or 5 and 10. You can roll it back just by clicking this button, and then it pops up with a whole bunch of things for you to go through, and you have to be very, very meticulous about doing it. You have to click continue and okay like 3 or 4 times. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to accidentally screw up. But once you roll back, it deletes all of those future revisions from the file, so it can never be screwed. It can't be recovered in a screwed up fashion. So that's that. That's the Windows Explorer side of PDM and all of the tools there. Are there questions at this point on stuff regarding PDM, regarding any of this?
Earlier you had said doing a batch check-in most of the time isn't a good idea. Um, I know when I had done batch check-ins in Mech 2 whenever I was doing like large assembly work where I had needed to move parts around and it was getting mad at me because I didn't have stuff checked out. If we're doing something like that, is that an okay time to do a
That,
batch check-in?
yeah, that's about the only time. So yeah, if you're just editing one or two parts, you don't want to be doing batch check-in, batch checkouts. When you're editing the entire assembly, it's kind of necessary sometimes to end up doing that. So you only want to do it when necessary. You don't want it to be the regular way of doing things.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, great question there. So any other questions on PDM stuff, PDM usage? All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now because we're covered everything. So yeah, so that's the big part. I think the let's go ahead and stop.